Welcome back, and thanks for listening to GODDAB Radio, a podcast for progressive thinking people. I'm Dog Mansur, and I'm here to bring you relevant and honest news and information I find compelling. Our show is often about cannabis, but not strictly. We will cover a number of other issues depending on what's happening, and I will try to feature guest interviews regularly. At GODDAB Radio, we're ferociously progressive, fiercely skeptical, and vehemently scientific, with a no-nonsense attitude we hope you will appreciate. This is part 2 of our show for January 20th, 2017, and we now have our interview with Mary Lou from the Cannabis Collaborative Conference. Well, let's welcome to our show Mary Lou. And Mary Lou is from the Cannabis Collaborative Conference, which is going to be going on in Portland here in February. Thanks for joining us on the show, Mary.
Thank you, Keith. I'm excited to talk with you today.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you on. Now, what is the dates of your show, and what is your show? What is your show? And tell us just a little bit about that.
So the Cannabis Collaborative Conference is happening in Portland, Oregon at the Expo, February 15th and 16th, 2017, next month. We started this conference 2.5 years ago when cannabis became legal in Oregon. We decided that there really needed to be an event to help people navigate through this all-new industry. What makes us different is we are working with OLCC. At our first conference, they did the application process. Then at the second conference, we did the seed to sale within the conference. So we've been able to really support and help OLCC working with the industry and making sure that everybody's working together.
Are they going to be back at this conference this year doing some more presentations?
And the exciting part of this one is we are working together to do an all-state invite to all the states that just legalized. So there's a lot of these states coming to Oregon wanting to know what we did, how we did it, what went right, what went wrong. So we are working together with them to invite these key lawmakers and key politicians to basically give them a 411 or a 420, what we've gone through.
Right,
so
right.
We're anticipating 30 to 40 people coming in from all the states. Our goal is to establish relationships, share information, and help with local businesses being able to brand awareness. So if they want to expand into other states.
Right.
So that one effort, the All-State, unlike other conferences that really sell booths and try to just bring together people, which is great for networking, we're really trying to work on what's going to benefit this industry 6 months out. We're playing off of what Ann Linegar is wanting to make Oregon the model cannabis state. We feel that Oregon is doing a phenomenal job, and we've already exceeded wine sales. One of my economists told me the other day. So we want cannabis to be very much a craft market. And with what people have gone through in the last 3 months in this industry, I have heard just terrible stories of people that crossed over to rec and have been caught up in the testing problems. And so we've been part of actually helping to move those things forward and get people to bridge the gap. One of the really exciting things at the conference is, and this was honestly out of a need from all the stories I heard, we're creating a investor matchmaking. So on Valentine's Day, and the 15th and the 16th, we have a matchmaking lounge where investors can meet up with people needing funding.
That'll probably be really well. That'll probably be really well visited by the people who are there, huh?
It's the exciting thing is giving people hope. We're not brokers, business brokers, but our tagline is, we are for the industry, by the industry. And we're listening to the industry of what is needed. In conjunction with the Investor Summit and Matchmaking Lounge, on our website, which is ccc-con.com, we have set up a pitch portal where our somebody needing funding or help or partnership can actually go in and fill out an application. We then have 50 investors that are looking at those pitches prior to the conference, and then they can actually make dates to meet in the investor lounge.
Wow.
So we really get nothing out of this other than helping people to be successful and bridge the gap. I've talked to businesses that are on the verge of going out of business. My goal is I want to help them become strong and work together. Unlike what happened in Washington, people were blowing the whistle on each other. And I really want people to understand that the partnerships, the relationships are going to be what's going to help everybody along and be successful. And really looking ahead in a couple of years, big business is coming. It already is.
It's already here. It is in some ways, yeah,
here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting calls from companies that want to be part of the show that have created a separate entity. And what scares me is I want these people that have done the hard work, that have taken the risk, that have put themselves out there to be the people that profit from this and not big business coming in and taking advantage. Now, there are some clients who we're helping to prepare that when this big business comes on board, that their brand is strong enough that they'll be bought out. And then they can do whatever they want to do at that point. Jokingly, people call me the pot cheerleader now. And I embrace that because I've never been more excited to work in an industry. For 28 years, I've been in the wedding and corporate industry planning events. And basically, I'm taking what I've done for that industry over the last 28 years, and I've applied it to the cannabis industry. And somebody jokingly said at our last conference that we Microsofted the cannabis industry. So that I thought was a really big compliment.
Well, it is. I mean, to try to bring it into the the true business age and realm of accepted and normal businesses as a conference. It's great to see that you're gonna be pitching it that way. I know there's some other conferences that I've been to that are out there that have a similar kind of flavor. They really take it seriously. They kind of limit, in some cases, even limit the entrance, and they pull off a real good conference with 500 or 600 people, and it's more expensive for some of those to get into than the typical conference, but they put on a really good show. But now the cost for entry is pretty affordable, isn't that right?
That was critical for me because I feel like there's people in this industry, bud tenders for one, who can't afford $500 to go to a conference. So we are actually working with some of our clients to offer bud tender scholarships. We're offering some promo code discounts for people that, it's important for them to be there, but they can't afford to be there. So our cost for a one-day pass is $149, and then for a two-day full pass is $249. The Investor Summit, which is not the Matchmaking Lounge, you can be part of that lounge by just buying a one-day pass, but we have an Investor Summit that's $89. Where you can learn about putting money into the industry and how to pitch getting money from an investor. Because a lot of people don't know how to do that, and there's kind of a formula for it.
Well, it seems like a reasonable fee to have access to some folks that can give you some skills. I mean, because finding money and getting investors is not an easy thing to do, especially in this industry that's just unusual in all aspects right now compared to any other industry.
What you and I talked about earlier is you coming in and possibly doing podcasts of all these seminars and then making that available on your pod channel, which, you know, I'm very open to that. Every dime we're earning from this conference is going back into the industry, because I know that what we're creating is going to go beyond, you know, making $1 today. We're all kind of in the same boat. The exciting thing too, kind of this parlays into what we've created is called Cannabis Connect, and we have people that have flower and products that they need to sell it, and we're hooking them up with buyers. I have people with licenses and properties for sale, and I have people wanting to buy properties and licenses for sale. So it's something that we're developing that will go on indefinitely, kind of like an Angie's List. Some people are calling it the Mary Lou's List. I'm calling it Cannabis Connect. So I was able to hook a grower up to sell a large quantity of flower with a buyer, and he got top dollar, which, you know, that's important right now, is for everybody to be maximizing their profits and staying alive. One thing I'm trying to do as well with a bunch of private investors is they're coming to me asking where to put their money, and I'm trying to tell them from my experience, which, again, I'm limited. You know, I was very beginner in the cannabis industry until I learned and became educated and, you know, have just been a sponge to everybody in the industry. What I am trying to tell these investors is, listen, there are companies out there that are amazing. They have the knowledge, and invest in them. Don't start your own thing. We don't need any more growers. We don't need any more retail stores.
Right.
Let's make ones that are here strong. I've told a chiropractor that called me that he had $1 million, wanted to start his own grow. And I said, well, you might as well throw it away, because if you don't know about growing, you're going to make mistakes and you will fail. So I hooked him up with somebody who was already up and running but needed the infusion of cash. So this guy is going to be able to sit back and watch his money grow without having to do all the hard work.
Right.
I think that, you know, all the media says, oh, it's the green rush. No, it isn't. You know, it's a hard rush. It's a scary rush. And people getting into it, if they don't understand the magnitude of it, they will lose their money.
Well, and unfortunately, there's quite a few con artists out there that are lurking around.
There are.
And you got to be careful and watch out for those folks that'll just take your money, blow it, and then, you know, suddenly it's gone, and you know, trying to get it back would be next to impossible, and court costs and everything else.
With every new industry comes the con men and the salespeople and the, you know, so again, creating that networking, like you were talking about, that resource where, you know, if somebody is not reputable, we don't list them.
Right.
You know,
right.
I mean, they go through maybe a quality check. So this is exciting stuff that, you know, we're on the cutting edge of such a new industry. My grandfather was in the produce business and a farmer, and I feel like I'm speaking after his death, you know. There were the first 6 months that I ventured into this before it actually came legal, you know, I had people hating on me. You know, God, your mom's a drug dealer. I have 4 kids.
Right.
And I just went, you know what? Give them 6 months and they'll be coming to me asking where to put their money. But we have to be brave, you know? And so the critical thing of this conference is I am not a big business. We are all self-funded. It's the industry that is pulling this together because they're telling me this is what we want and this is what we need. I'm not sure if you heard about our Oregon Growers Fair down in Salem in August.
We did. We reported on that a little bit on our website and in the paper. Yep.
I feel that was probably the most exciting thing that's happened for this industry. It went international news because the fairgrounds, the state fair, I mean,
right.
a government-run state fair allowed us to have live plants there for the 12 days. And when I asked the fair at the end how they felt about it, they told me there was a 20% increase in attendance, and the biggest asked question at the gate was, "Where are the pot plants?"
Right.
That is phenomenal.
20% increase. Wow, that's just amazing. A 20% increase in attendance.
And they were really scared about doing it. And one of the stories went public that 4-H cannabis, 4-H freaked out, which I totally understand. We don't want to relate cannabis to children. But that actually helped the story to go viral. We were picked up by BBC, NBC, ABC, The Guardian, New York Times. They even had press come in from Denmark that did a documentary on some clients here in Oregon. So that one event really put Oregon on the map, and we now have the ability to work with these press outlets. They have agreed, Huffington Post at this point, Associated Press, want to actually come to the conference and be there for the 3 days.
Well, that's great. That's really good.
Get our clients exposure like that it's invaluable. I mean, you can't even put a price on it.
So your speaker lineup incorporates a nice wide variety of folks. You've got consultants, growers. You've got hemp industry people. You've got product people.
We've got banking, which is huge.
You really have covered it really well, yeah. But now,
and then even new technology. I mean, people that are coming out with ideas for watering systems or drying racks. We didn't want to limit it to just big business. We're bringing in entrepreneurs and people that have a great idea.
Right.
Because they deserve as much exposure as the other. The one thing that we just got word on, which even though it's not a huge name, we just got word that we have scientists coming in from OHSU, Brown University, and Harvard that are going to share studies on the medical benefits of cannabis.
Whoa, that's excellent.
You don't get, the more mainstream and the more we can educate people that this is probably our world's greatest resource. I mean, maybe I'm a little crazy, but when I look at the value of hemp and cannabis and what it's doing for cancer patients, I just saw a news story last night that Washington is looking at allowing children to use cannabis within the schools, the epilepsy patients.
Right, yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, we just wrote a story about that. That's great news. I mean, they're going to, it's going to require the parents to actually go to school to administer it, but at least the child can stay at school.
Yeah, there's an opportunity. And one of the other, probably, I think, most heartening things was at the Oregon Growers Fair, I hung out at the door for a while and asked people how they heard about it. I had probably 30 people that said that their doctor sent them. And they said, you can't tell anybody, but they said, I can't help you anymore. I can't prescribe any more meds for you.
Right.
But cannabis may be a solution. That is huge. So that's my next effort, is to do a conference for doctors, basically understanding the benefits of it.
We're getting a little short on time, so I want to cover your keynote speakers for this conference, which you've landed a couple of great ones. Why don't you tell our listeners about them?
Yeah, George Zimmer, he was the CEO of Men's Warehouse, and I'm sure everybody saw his ads over the years. Basically, his line was, "You're going to look great."
Right.
And he has been an advocate, and I can't remember, CNBC or whatever, published an article. Basically, he put a quote in it saying, gosh, if using cannabis over the last 50 years has affected me, I'd say for the positive, because he is one of the most successful businessmen I know. Really, I was in the wedding and event business, and he was the epitome of success in tuxedo and suit sales.
Oh, yeah. And branding strategy
was,
and everything else, from their advertising and their, he's great.
He has been a contributor, an advocate, and his story, I'm going to tell people they have to come on the 15th to see him, because his story is unbelievable, and we are so grateful that he has jumped on board and come to do this for us. The second one is Cy Scott, which he was the co-founder of Leafly, one of the largest successful.
Oh, yeah.
Huge. When I first got into the industry, everybody told me Leafly is the go-to. He has started his new endeavor, and he's going to be talking all about that, which basically he's taken his knowledge of the industry and he's applying to a new concept that is really going to be, I think, groundbreaking for this industry.
That's just great. So you've got two really, really good headliners. The Cy Scott, the former founder of Leafly, and who's in a new business. So he's gotten into the cannabis industry in another way. And then you've got George Zimmer, who, of course, is super successful in the clothing industry, the tuxedo industry, and he has obviously launched a different line of tuxedos since he left Men's Warehouse. But he's also involved in the cannabis industry heavily.
Exactly. He just, for somebody of his stature to step up, that's what we need, is more, I think, mainstream successful people to to acknowledge that, they have used and what the benefits are.
Yeah.
And I personally, my story was I was hooked on Ambien, and I went to my doctor, and sleep is probably the biggest problem with somebody like me who's ADD, who, if I don't get sleep, it causes severe depression. So I had a friend who gave me some oil, because I didn't like the idea of smoking,
Right.
But they gave me this oil pen, and I tell you, it has changed my life. I have gotten better sleep, more Zen sleep, because when you're on Ambien, it's an awful sleep. I was getting up at the middle of the night and eating 5,000 calories of food, which gaining weight then causes depression. The things I'm learning, and the funny thing is I have friends coming to me right and left who were absolutely opposed to it, because that's what we grew up learning, that it was a bad thing.
Right.
Now we're asking me, gosh, what can I use for hot flashes? What can I use to make me happy? I wish, honestly, when my 4 kids were growing up, I hate to say, I wish I was doing it a little bit, because I wouldn't have been so stressed out all the time. It changed my life. And,
it does. When people haven't used it and they try it, it can be life altering in many cases. That's for sure. Well, let's we're out of time pretty much here, so let's give people another recap of where they can find more information about your conference, and then the dates again.
Perfect. So CCC-con.com.
Okay.
On my website, you can see the agenda, the speaker content, the speakers. We do have only a few limited booth space left. If somebody's interested, we have ones ranging from $8.95 to $15.95. So again, incredibly affordable for exposure.
Right.
And that's bottom line how we pay for this whole event.
And then it's being held at the Portland Expo.
Portland Expo, and it's February 15th and 16th, both days. and you can buy a 1-pass for $149 or a 2-pass for $249. The amount of information and knowledge they'll get, it's like going, I think, to a cannabis university for a year in one spot. And then the Investor Summit is on the 14th, Valentine's Day. You can get more information about that on the website.
Okay.
But we encourage anybody to come who is either in the industry, wanting to get into the industry, education about the industry.
Right.
It's going to be a really amazing event, and we appreciate your time in giving us this time to spread the word.
Oh, absolutely. We're glad to have you on our premiere episode. We really like to get the information out to people. That's what our podcast is all about, and it's also kind of what you're doing. So I think that it's a good match. So we're excited to be attending the event.
You've done your time, and what your dedication and commitment with what you do. I'm in appreciation and of all the people that have really done it over the years, and you deserve kudos for what you've done, and we're excited to be working with you at the conference. Great.
Well, I'm glad to do what I've done, and glad to be working with you as well. So we encourage everybody to come out to the conference this February 15th and 16th. It'll be out at the Portland Expo. And for more information, visit ccc-con.com to get more information.
Yeah, so, and tell your listeners to let you know that they would love to hear the podcast, and you and I can talk about that.
Absolutely, that'd be great. All right, Mary Lou, thank you very much for being on with us.
Thank you.
And we'll have you on again next year for sure, and we'll chat more about this because we're going to the event.
And actually, Keith, stay tuned. We have a very exciting announcement we'll be making at the conference.
All right.
Another event that is much needed in Oregon.
Great. Well, we'll keep people in suspense then. All right. Well, thank you again, Mary Lou, and everybody, get out to the conference if you can. Well, that really sounds like a good time out there at the Cannabis Collaborative Conference. I think we're going to be there, actually. We're going to have a booth. Well, not GODDAB Radio, I should say. Oregon Cannabis Connection newspaper and OCC Business Journal will be at the event. But we'll be representing GODDAB Radio, too. We're hoping under the name of GODDAB Radio to rebroadcast some of those speakers that are going to be there. So I'm going to be talking with Mary Lou about that and see if we can put those up for you guys to listen to down the road. So anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed our very first premiere episode of GODDAB Radio. We're glad to be back on the air. I personally, especially, I have missed it. I did Road Cannabis Radio down in Southern Oregon on KSKQ 89.5 FM for years. I founded that show back in 2011. I think one of the first cannabis radio shows on the regular FCC broadcast airwaves, to be honest. And I've since moved to Portland. So now that I'm based in Portland and I have internet access and I'm doing a lot more on the internet these days, I decided to start my own podcast show that I can just put out there for anybody to download and listen to. I had a lot of followers down there in Southern Oregon, and I'm hoping some of them will start listening to our show here. So anyway, I really appreciate it, you guys, for listening. I want to give one more shout out to another sponsor that, again, helps keep GODDAB Radio on the air. Tired of pills? We can help. At Southern Oregon Alternative Medicine, we offer chiropractic and naturopathic medicine, massage, acupuncture, and medical marijuana therapy. With clinics in 19 locations across Oregon and main offices in Portland, Springfield, and Medford, we make it convenient and easy for you too. Southern Oregon Alternative Medicine is the only clinic of its kind to offer both medical marijuana certification and full health care. You can find us online at www.soaltmed.com or southernoregonalternativemedicine.com. Or call us at 541-779-5235. And so thanks for listening to our premiere episode of GODDAB Radio. You can download it every Friday. It will be up before 3 p.m. on Fridays, and you can find it on iTunes and a number of other locations, and we're still sorting out exactly where, but we're putting it on iTunes right away, so find us there.